Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Sunday Live with Silvia. It is the 6th of December 2020 at this moment, but it could be any time, anywhere, really, in the wonder worlds of, well, the real world in which we live, which consists of so many wonderful places. So, very welcome to you. And today I have a theme. I have a theme in mind that has been weaving its way, or not weaving, waving its way through my whole week. And as we're sort of waiting for people to say hello and come in and join us, I'm just going to start talking about the waves and the universal weather. A long time ago, an aspect of mine got bored and tired of everything being my own fault. There was a particular thing going on in personal development in the new age, and I understand why that was. Everything is your fault. Everything, absolutely everything that happens to you in your life is your fault. I'm not saying this is so. If you're just kicking in and you're just hearing me say that, this is not my opinion. This is in what other people are saying. Hey, good morning, Pavel, all the way from Novosibirsk, and Julie and Bear from Ireland. Hi, guys. Nice that you're here with me. Yeah, so back in the day, there was this idea that possibly at the soul level, you decided on all the suffering that you needed in this life for whatever reason. And it sort of went into this everything's your fault business. Everything. You chose everything. Good morning, Marianne, my dear, from Germany. Very international once more, which is great. I love that. And my aspects weren't really in the mood for it. They were not in the mood for this whole it's all your fault business. Up to a point, I'm willing to accept a measure of responsibility for my fuck ups, if you will, we also have to bear in mind that they're only talking about trauma again, right? The nightmare of trauma, they're still asleep. But so it's all the trauma you've ever had in your life is all your fault. And I really just got fed up with it. And I said, there must be something else that might have an influence on the way I think, the way I feel, the way I behave, other than it being me making myself miserable all the time. What the hell is that? I refuse to accept that. I like to be happy. I like good things in my life. And I cannot conceive of a reason why I should be made to suffer for no good reason. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. It makes no sense to me that it should be all our fault and so on. And so back in those days, my aspect went to have a look around what other reasons there could be for making mistakes or fucking up or not doing the right thing or making bad mistakes or bad decisions. And I went on a quest to find things, and I found a lot of things. First thing I found was other people. They are often very much a reason for our traumas. And to say that this is never the case and it's only ever your own fault is actually really damaging. It's wrong. It's just a terrible way of thinking about things. And as I say, I understand where it comes from. You want to get people out of this eternal victim state. So, but what happens is you're then turning that person into their own victim, the victim of their own insanity or deep soul purposes, because you can only learn your lessons through suffering. And horrible. So instead of a lot of perpetrators over your life, you end up with one perpetrator. That perpetrator is you. I'm not accepting of that. So anyway, I was looking around for reasons why things went wrong in our lives. And as I said, one of the ones that I came across was obviously other people. And as I kept looking for other things, I found something that's really quite interesting. And it particularly affects what I would call magical people. People who are, well, who have their sixth sense a bit online, who are sensitive to things in their environment, whatever they may be, people or other happenings. And these people, well, they were affected by something that I call universal weather. And what is universal weather? How do you know it's not you, but it's universal weather? Well, that came to me one day when I was feeling really, really out of sorts, listless and tired and irritable. And I couldn't track it down to hormones. I couldn't track it down to having had a bad night's sleep or something I ate the other day. I couldn't find a reason for it. And then friend phoned up and said, God, I'm feeling so out of sorts today, so weird. I'm feeling as though I'm just not right. And then another friend phoned up who said the same thing. And then I went out and met some people and they said that too. And I thought, okay, so here's something going on that is affecting all of us. What is it? And eventually I just decided that I'll call it universal weather. There are things going on, and they're not just invisible things. They're not just energy things. Our galaxy, our solar system, the Earth is rushing through space at an alarming speed the whole time. And God knows what fields or things it travels through on this journey. We might run into sort of a cluster of weird dust. And when that happens, that affects the Earth, that affects us, and then we feel out of sorts. And then, of course, all the astrologers are going to jump up. Woohoo! I've told you, it's astrology. It's the influence of planets and suns and their relationships with each other. It's the moon. Yeah, fine, cool. All of that comes under universal weather. And, in latter days here today, we have other things. And one of the things that my aspect didn't know about was sun flares. And they are really something. And they're not just energy. Although, wow, they are also just energy. But they're also, sun flares have a huge effect on physical, material objects, on our living energy body. And right now, the reason I'm talking about it is that there is tremendous sunspot activity. There are tremendous sun flares kicking off at the moment. So, if you've been feeling a bit weird this last week, or a bit uninspired, or tired, or unusual in some shape or form, and there we can go to the Sherlock Holmes thing, just take the obvious things out. Take the obvious things out. Like if you drank a whole bottle of vodka the night before, you can expect to be feeling somewhat not at your best when you wake up the next morning with a headache and a hangover. But do keep that space there when you are thinking about what is causing your feelings, your health, your behavior. When you're trying to be the detective who figures out how it works, keep that space for the universal weather, because that's a real thing. It is real. It happens. And for that, social media is actually quite useful. And I did make the comment that instead of using Facebook just for marketing and brainwashing, if they actually used it for something useful, like noticing, for example, big global patterns when people like posts less than they normally do. And this is like a wave that goes around the entire globe. We've got a correlation, a scientific statistical correlation between, say, sun flares or moon phases or other things, that have an influence on behavior. And some people might think this isn't a big deal. That's not a big deal. But it is, because just think about it. If you're driving a car in heavy traffic on the motorway and you make one small mistake, that can have dire consequences. It's not a little thing. It is not a little thing. If you're talking to somebody, or you could be just walking down the street and giving a stranger a bad eye or a bad glance because you're not feeling well, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and that guy now goes off and kills himself. Little actions can have tremendous effects. And to become aware of the universal weather, I think, is really important. And the more magical you are, the more sensitive you are, the more you are affected by this. But it doesn't, at the same time, you don't have to be a victim of it, because we can raise energy and do a little bit of extra work on the energy raising so that we get to feel a little bit better, and that we are out of that sort of field of being affected by it and wondering what it is that's causing this, and how your previous incarnated soul decided that you need to be feeling uninspired on this day. So it's just something that I really feel more people should know about. And it goes right back to this core concept that no, it isn't all your fault, and no, you are not your own perpetrator. Far from it, far from it. All your aspects have always tried to do the best they could for you in any circumstance, in any state. And sometimes perhaps they didn't make the wisest decisions. Perhaps they got stuff wrong, but that doesn't make them into some kind of plan for your own suffering, or that you can't rely on yourself, or that you can't understand and love yourself and support yourself. Because I believe that takes us out of that victim mode. That takes us out of that victim mode. That we can say, okay, stuff happened and I reacted to that as best as I could. At the time, my aspects did the best they could under, the situations. And I think that's a much healthier way of thinking about it. And also to answer that other problem, which was that it's supposed to give you your power back if everything's your fault. And it doesn't, because first of all, everything isn't your fault. And secondly, anyway, but what does give you your power back is when we kind of say, okay, I'm going to try and react as best as I can to the situation that I find myself in. That's my promise to myself and all my aspects. I'm going to do the best that I can. And the thing is, and this is really cool, is with modern energy, we can do better. We can do better than other older aspects did, simply because we know that we can do something about it. We can raise energy. And then we are stronger, more empowered, smarter. We are better versions of ourselves, if you want to call it that. We're in a better position to make better decisions. And the old aspects did not know this. They had no idea. They had no idea that they could stop and do something before making that decision, composing that response, taking that action. This is important. It is, to me, this is super important, and a big thing that if you've learned that too much, that everything's your fault, and you've integrated that too much, it's not helpful, it's not realistic, and yeah, we are a part of the giant web of life, giant webs of incarnations. And we're rushing through the universal weather at alarming rate all the time. Everything is alive, and it's how we react to that, how we interact with that. And it's always this either, how can I make the best out of this for me personally and for those that I love? How can I keep myself safe and those that I love? How can I take advantage of this circumstance, this situation? as well. It's always just about reacting, really, isn't it? Just going to say hello to Wendy and Janine and Ilka. Thank you for joining us, my dearly beloved shining beings. Yeah, I think the universal weather is a good starting point into this idea that shit happens. And what matters at the end of the day is how we respond to that. That's what it's all about. There's people, when they talk about, I want to create my reality, they're thinking in terms of it's forever summer, it's forever green, it's forever no work, it's forever cocktails on the beach with the forever unchanging lover. And yeah, groovy. But that's not realistic. That is not realistic. Even if you own a beach, an island in the Bahamas, you're going to get hurricanes. And the roof of your wonderful villa is going to be ripped off, and your artwork's going to get soaked. And your gardens are going to get devastated. Your yacht might get smashed up. That's the real world, real life. And if you don't kind of factor that into your dreams, then those dreams are just fantasies. And they cannot ever lead to anything good in the long run, Yeah, nice moment on the beach with a glass of champagne is a lovely thing, a wonderful thing. But then you can see the clouds come up and the winds kind of getting high, and this is the moment then when we say, okay, that was a lovely moment I had on the beach, and now I'm going to go indoors and stay dry and stay happy and put on a fire perhaps and enjoy myself in the indoor sort of way. Okay, let's have a look at the comments here. Wendy says, I lived in Italy for a while, and the Italians seemed to put everything they were feeling down to the weather. Ah, this is just a bit of wider weather. Yes, the universal weather is exactly, and you can track this back from the universal weather into real weather. And that's actually going to come to that, but seeing we're here, might as well do this. Okay, so I have a partner who hates rainy days. The reason he hates rainy days is that you can't ride a motorbike on a rainy day without getting physically very uncomfortable. And the more so, the longer you ride. It's hard to describe. But so when he wakes up and it's raining outside, he's like, oh, this is going to be a horrible day. And I have the exact opposite reaction to that. I see rain and I'm going, woohoo, fantastic. No barking dogs in the back gardens, no screaming children, no lawnmowers. It's going to be lovely and quiet. And it'll give me that wonderful space where I can do art, where I can contemplate work or just do work in a very calm and sort of fashion. I love it. Absolutely love it. And this is this thing of, it doesn't actually matter really what's going on. What matters, the only thing that matters, is how we react to that. And in that way, you can say, oh, it's all your fault. Okay, yeah, whatever. The ability to realize or recognize that you are reacting in a certain way that is not necessarily beneficial. I mean, that's a thing. That's the first step, isn't it? Yeah, and here we come to a story I told on the GOE members group last night, which is, for some reason, I don't know why, some person who must have been from Twitter. I mean, okay, I have a Twitter account, but I post to it very, very rarely, and I do not use it to comment on other people's posts ever. So I have stayed clear of this whole Twitter insanity, and you really can't call it anything other than that. So this person must have found somehow their way from Twitter to my YouTube channel and went absolutely ballistic at me for one word that I'd said. without any context, it was like they were listening and waiting for this one word that was going to cause them to have this absolute -7 freak out. And so they sent this thing back, which was clearly on a mobile phone, because the spelling was atrocious, and you could just see this vomit of words, this flood of bizarre accusations that had nothing to do with what I'd actually said. Nothing at all. Nothing. It was bizarre. And my aspect reacted to that with absolute sort of anger. With anger, injustice, with rage. And I could really feel that. And now, at my age now, there is no way I'm going to put my fingers to the keyboard in that state. No way. No. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have learned my lesson on this. Nothing good will come of it. It's ridiculous. My heart is beating so high, it's giving me earaches. Adrenaline is coursing through my personage. My state is hugely dangerous, on the very verge of flipping into this -7 rage response. No way am I going to take action from that state. No way, because that's not the person I want to be. I don't want to be this creature where you can just say a word to them and they freak out. I wouldn't want to give that much power to anybody. It'd be ridiculous. Plus also, a tweet. Come on. It wasn't a tweet. It was a comment on a YouTube video. But it was clearly from the Twitter school of communication and thinking without, oh man, it was horrible. But that's the long story I told on the GOE members group. The point being was that I recognized that and decided to do something with myself instead of responding to that person. And that's an example of, doing something that I wish to God my younger aspects had known how to do. To realize you're in a negative state, and instead of just acting unknowingly like some Muppet in the Muppet Show, to stop and recognize that and say, okay, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel better. I want to be better than that. But that's the same as feeling better. That's interchangeable, same thing. I want to feel better because feeling better makes you a better person. And that way you can be better. It also sort of takes that out, that somehow we should be better than what we are. We should just feel better. Yeah, so I did some tapping, and then I wrote a poem, and then I felt a lot better. And I looked at the person's message again, read it through carefully, did a little bit of emo with what was left, and everything was well with the world. Everything was done. And I felt great. Felt great, and did some fine things after that. And that is, yeah. I mean, and that going back to the universal weather, we don't necessarily have to accept feeling so listless and uninspired. Now, especially when I'm feeling uninspired, obviously I don't have the energy to pull myself out of the swamp by my own hair. That's really an interesting problem. What do you do when you've gone into some sort of swamp and now you haven't got the energy to pull yourself back out again? Well, some amongst us have cats and dogs, or children, who'll just come and force you out of it with pointed sticks or with a happy invitation, as the case may be. But you just can't lie on the couch when you've got these creatures around you that need your attention. But what if you don't have anybody around to pull you out of the swamp? What do you do? So I had a beautiful experience with that. And that was, um, I felt really uninspired, so I didn't want to say anything on social media. Why bring everybody else down, Plus, also didn't really have the energy to come up with something to say. Nothing, blank, nada. Happens to me. Yes, it does. And so I thought, well, look, God, what I can manage to do is tidy up a few notepad files that were still open on my computer, just in case it decides to update itself and then they're lost. So, first one I opened was a poem an aspect had written 3 days earlier called The Waves. And it literally said there are waves in the universe. And it goes on to say that some of them are powerful and mighty, and sometimes you get white water rushing, and sometimes you get, still calm seas. And doesn't matter, you need to learn to ride those waves. And that was the message from the poem. And I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read it. But so this tired, sad aspect read the poem. It was absolutely perfect, and went, "Oh yeah, it's probably just universal weather." So, like when it's raining and you can't play outside, what do you do when it's raining? Well, something nice, something relaxing, something fun, something that doesn't take too much physical effort, like just drawing something or painting something, coloring something. I don't know. But there I was then thinking already, what is it that I could do that actually works with this kind of universal weather? And that's that response again, that response to what's around us, and not just accepting it. It can't be any other way. I'm feeling uninspired. I'm feeling listless. I'm feeling tired. I hate the rain. To take that in hand a little bit more and to become aware of it. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to, go into a great tapping mission or something. But just to become a little bit more self-aware, I think, is what I'm saying here. Is really, I think, the path to feeling happier more often in your life. And when we do that, when we feel a little more happier more often in our own lives, then things tend to happen. It's like that first domino falling over. It's not just that, but it's all the other dominoes that follow. With my wave poem, I thought, I need an illustration for that. Then found the perfect illustration, an aspect had done 2015. Excuse me. Yes, a perfect illustration. And then I was feeling all grateful to the aspects who had done these lovely things that I put together on that day. And I was really, really happy. Okay, yeah, so universal weather, the waves, and the last thing that I just want to tell you quickly, that's the wisdom of the water. I saw a documentary on YouTube. I like to watch documentaries about archaeology and such. And in this documentary, the person said that the ancient Egyptians invented the centimeter meter measurement. And they started out by wanting to have a unit of measurement that was always the same everywhere in the kingdoms they had at the time. And they tried various things, stones, nuts, seeds, but they were all very different in size, until one of them came up with the idea of measuring one drop of water across. And it turned out that that was the same size. If you measured one drop of water in the Upper Kingdom, you came up with a size of it. And if you measured that, say, another drop of water at the bottom of the kingdom, in the lower kingdom, it was still the same size. So that's when the drop of water became 1 centimeter. They didn't call it that, but that's where we get our 1 centimeter from. Not from some French guy in, 1786, but indeed from the ancient Egyptians. And then it was quite logical to make further measuring devices. I mean, you've got 10 fingers and 10 toes. And if you put, 10 little water drops sizes together, then you get a decimeter. 100 of them make a meter. Well, hey, we have a measuring system. And and if you put a certain number of raindrops into a container, you get a kilo. But I loved that so very much. I thought that if somebody had told my young aspect this story as the first lesson in maths, my life would have been completely different. Because the story of the water drop, that always is the same, and the 1 centimeter measurement connects the abstract number to something that really exists, a drop of water. It is that connection, that essential connection between numbers and a reality we are trying to describe that's being established there. And I think that's just mind-blowing. I was looking out at the rain this morning and I actually saw numbers falling from the sky. Oh, I could have been really, really good at maths if somebody had told me that story. So if you have a child or a grandchild, or you can get a hold of a child, please tell them about the drop of water. It's going to make an enormous difference in the way they understand numbers and relate to numbers and weights and measures and all those other things. And so I was thinking about this. I wanted to tell this story this morning on Silvia Live. And, man, it just connects up with the wisdom of the water. It connects up with the ocean wave from EMO. Water is so mysterious, such a mysterious substance. Nobody really knows where it came from or how it first arrived, but it is the basis of life. And, wow, man, seeing the universe in a single drop of water. I will have to make myself a blue water drop pendant of some kind. I really, really will. All right, so guys, water, wisdom of the water, the waves of the universe. It's all connected. It's all connected. And of course, we have this wonderful, wonderful thing that you can just have this amazing, amazing meditation with a small glass of water. As long as you're a little bit conscious and you do it deliberately, and you take a moment to just contemplate this water being created somewhere in outer space and somehow hurtling through space and then arriving on Earth and creating life grows within it. And the water drop is the basis of our modern mathematics. It's the basis of our modern physics. Whoa. It's like, whoa. And then there's this idea that you can imprint water with anything you want, and it will gladly take that up and it will change its being. And when you drink it back, then it becomes a part of your living body. Because, see, once you've drank a glass of water, you cannot undrink it. If you make a glass of water and you put sunshine and happiness in it, and sparkles, and party energy, and happy joy, love, lots and lots of love, then you drink it, cannot be undrunk. It has been done. 1 equals infinity. Okay, you guys. I hope that was a little bit of fun here for Sunday. Some places, the incredible miracle of snowflakes might be happening soon, or has already happened. Oh, man, isn't it just fascinating? Isn't water just the most wonderful thing? And yeah, if we allow it to help us and let us bring joy and fun and happiness and a little bit more awareness, just awareness of not getting sucked into the insanity of the heart all the time, but just having this little bit of extra awareness of the miracles unfolding around us all the time, and the beauty and the fantastic things in the universe, in the multiverse. Wow, so many wonderful things. Okay, guys, right. So I am going to thank you very much for having been here today. Please, if you can, join me for The Gift special, which is on the 20th of December, Sunday, 10 o'clock my time, whatever your time is right now. And the people who are on the live stream, hopefully, if you want The Gift from yours truly, then I will most gladly send you one. And if you like the gift that I'm sending to someone else, energy is free. You're not taking anything away from anyone else. So you don't have to sit there and watch somebody else unwrap a gift that you wish you'd had, but you can then take that gift for yourself just as well and have a good time with it. And I'm really looking forward to that. If you don't know what the gift is, please check it out, look it up, because I'm really not going to go over the basics. We've got about an hour to give as many gifts as we possibly can. And I'm kind of hoping that somebody's going to send me a gift, 2 or 3. That will be awesome fun. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. I feel after I've done that, I can survive the rest of the various activities that are required to be partaken of in the heart. I will be fortified. I will have been well rewarded. Okay, guys. Yeah, so looking forward to it. And if you've got anything specific you want me to talk about in next week's Sunday Live, which is the last one before the gift special, just send me a message or leave me a comment, and I will be more than happy to have a chat about it. In the meantime, ride those waves of the universe, surf them, enjoy them, and ask questions of what is this for, this particular universal weather? Which kind of hay can I make from this particular sunshine? What is a good thing, the right thing to be doing right now? And when we sort of do that more and we get back into this universal rhythm, universal harmony, that has got to be good for health, wealth, and happiness and all good things. All right, guys, thank you very much for having been here with me. Have a fantastic day and a really good week ahead. Have fun. Find those star moments. Look for the magic, and it will find you. Lots of love, and bye for now.